They say when a man wants a woman, there is nothing that will stop him from pursuing her. And I don't know about all that, all right? Because there's always some exceptions to the rule. But on the flip side, let's talk about the idea of a woman pursuing a man. And I can agree with the belief that a woman should not pursue a man, but it's not that simple. We got to break this down. We got to go further into this. So I want to lay out for you the reasons why a woman should never pursue a man. Now listen, let's get some things clear real quick. The word pursue and chase has gotten confused, all right? And arguably, if we look at the definitions of them, they're pretty much the same. They're very close to it. But I do think that chasing more indicates someone who is running away, who is trying to disengage, whereas pursue is more so driving the engagement. It's more so, okay, you're putting in the effort to make things happen. They're not necessarily running away from you, but they're not necessarily running towards you either, all right? So I wanted to clarify the difference between those two. Also, I want us to understand the difference between pursuing and presenting, all right? So some people believe a woman should not even approach a man. She should not make any kind of move, first move, second move. It should just be on him to go after her. I dispute that. I do think and believe that there's nothing wrong, and not just nothing wrong, that it's good for a woman to express interest, that it's good for a woman to present herself to a man that she's interested in. Now, for those of you who are biblical and very spiritual people, a lot of people love to use the scripture, he who finds a wife, to then insinuate that that means it's never on a woman. That's not what that scripture means, okay? Not to mention, people will also use the story of Ruth and Boaz. If those of you who aren't familiar with it, check it out, it's in the Bible. But listen, even in that story, Ruth had to present herself to Boaz in order to make that whole thing fall into place. So the idea that a woman should never say hello, should never present her interest, I think that's disputable, all right? And I think that a lot of the going against that idea is really due to the fact that people don't want to put themselves out there. It's due to the fact that people don't want to have to face any possible rejection, which is understandable, but you're only shooting yourself in the foot because there may be specific times, and at the end of this video, I'm going to give you the specific time where you should be taking that action as a woman. But now that we got those things out the way, let's talk about more so pursuing, as in you driving the situation. You are the one who is essentially, in a lot of cases, dragging this along. You are the one trying to make things happen in an ongoing manner, all right? Not just that one time where you, again, present yourself. No, you're continuously the one taking more initiative. Number one, how you start is how you finish. So here's an important thing to understand. And this won't apply to every woman, though I believe it applies to most. If you desire a man who can lead, take initiative, make decisions, then by you being the pursuer, by you starting off and setting the stage for, you will be the one to take initiative. You will be the one to make things happen. You will drive the situation. You will basically flip the roles, all right? And now some people may say, well, there's nothing wrong with that. Why do we have to have gender roles? Listen, I do believe in gender roles. At the very least, I believe in roles. I believe we have to have roles, and you have to identify which one that you want, and not just want, are willing to sustain throughout the relationship, and what you will desire from your partner. And so going back to a point of you desiring this leader, this initiative taker, things of that nature, by you being the pursuer, one, you may not come to realize that that man does not possess those characteristics and abilities. Because many times, not always, but many times, the guy who is unable to take any initiative in the courting or getting to know you, in moving things along, is a guy who lacks that ability in other aspects of his life. It's a consistent pattern. And so now, again, by you setting that stage of you doing it and taking that responsibility completely away from him, you end up with a man who lacks those abilities. And in the long run, you become very unhappy with it. And you've got to understand that you can sit there and say, well, how about if I started off that way, but then I let him take over? I think that can work. And that's why, going back to presenting versus pursuing, if you present yourself, so you initiated first, but then from there, he takes the wheel and he pushes things along, you've now set things back in place, all right? But if you're continuously doing it, again, he becomes conditioned to, you got this. And so I've seen so many relationships, even marriages, where women will complain about this man never taking initiative, never making decisions, lacking ambition, so on and so forth. And many situations, when I say, well, how was he in the beginning? And it was like, he was always like that. Okay, so if he was always like that, why did you accept this? Why did you allow this to continue? And the reason was because they were blinded by their own pursuit. They were the ones pushing things along, and they wanted what they wanted, so they ignored the fact, and they also allowed him to believe he did not need to possess those qualities. So again, how you start is how you finish. Will you be happy with a man who is unable to take the lead? And so you being the pursuer, an ongoing pursuit, an ongoing driver of the car, and I just keep repeating these things so you understand the angle I'm taking with this, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. And you're going to be very unhappy in the long run. So that's definitely a reason for a woman to never pursue. Second reason why a woman should never pursue a man is because men have a harder time rejecting women. So let me start with the idea of proposing. I know we're kind of going really far into it by going straight to proposal, but this drives a really good point home. So I've talked about the fact that I do not believe in a woman proposing to a man. Of course, there's exceptions to the rule. There's very minority cases where I think it's okay, but for the most part, it's a hell no as far as I'm concerned. And one of the arguments that I've made is that if you ask a man to marry you, he may say yes, even though he does not want to. Now, I've had women come back to me, well, if he didn't want to get married, why wouldn't he say no? You know, what's so wrong with it? And I'm like, no, y'all don't understand. As men, we are not typically in the position of rejecter. Most dynamics are men having to pursue women, men having to shoot their shot, so to speak. And so women have become more comfortable. Not that it's easy for any specific woman or not ever possible for certain specific men. But in general, or generally speaking, it is harder because men are not used to having to do it. It is easier for women, easier, because women are more accustomed to doing it. And so now, when it's a proposal, when it's asking on a date, when it's asking for a number, men are much more awkward and uncomfortable. And so he is more likely to say yes, not because he wants it, but because he does not know how to say no. And literally, I have many examples, but there's one that pops in my head, going back to the marriage thing for a second, where a man flat out told me the only reason why he married his wife was because he was afraid to tell her no. That's it. He was never in love. He did not think it was time. None of it. He just did not know how to stand in his strength and say, no, I don't want this. So I cannot, in good conscience, encourage women to pursue or push the issue further and take the lead in this way, because I know how easy it's going to be to end up with a man who doesn't even want to be there. Again, I know this sounds crazy as hell, but you've got to understand, people in general struggle with being the bad guy. But when, again, you are not conditioned to doing it, and let's add this piece to it. Because the perception of women being, by a lot of people, women being much more sensitive, more fragile emotionally, The desire to not want to hurt you, be that bad guy, and so on and so forth, paralyzes this man's ability to say no. And so it's a very unfortunate situation. And so now, if any of you are thinking, well, listen, I want him to say yes, so I might as well do it, right? No, you shouldn't do it, because to end up with a man who doesn't really want to be there is to end up in a relationship you're never going to get fulfilled by. You're never going to be happy in. You're going to always have a disconnect there. Resentment will creep in. Animosity will creep in. There's all kinds of issues that will create a toxic, unhealthy relationship. He may be what you want, but he may not be best for you. And so it is best to allow the man who is genuinely interested, genuinely serious about you, to take the lead when it comes to pursuing. Third reason why a woman should never pursue a man: you'll probably overlook the red flags. All right. So this is more, okay, let me say it like this. I believe that when you are chasing, even though we're not really talking about chasing as I defined it earlier, you damn sure gonna overlook the red flags. Because when people are chasing after something, when they're chasing someone, they get tunnel vision and they miss everything, all right? Because they're just locked into what they want. But even in pursuit, even in desiring reciprocity and trying to get him to meet you, get to a certain level of effort on his end, it's still very easy for you, being the one who's driving the situation, to now miss the red flags, to not be as in tune with your intuition and your spirit. And that's why it becomes a very dangerous thing, all right? When you see women who pursue, again, they get so caught up in what they want. And that's a problem. And now, because you want this, you make excuses for the red flags. You may see them, but you'll rationalize past them. Oh, well, this isn't a big deal. Oh, well, I can work with this. Oh, well, this will get better, which is a huge, huge mistake. There's a quote that says, women marry hoping the man will change. Men marry hoping the woman will never change. And so a lot of women, whether it be marriage or just relationships, overlook what is a clear red flag with the belief and hope that this guy will become better, essentially falling for his potential rather than his reality. And that mistake bites so many women in the behind. You have to love him as he is right now. It does not mean we can't work towards better. It doesn't mean he may not possibly become better. But if who he is right now, and I mean more specifically the person, his character, all the circumstances may not be perfect, all right? And to give an example, to give more clarity, let's say, for example, he's not where you would love for him to be financially. But where he currently is still a man who shows you ambition. He's a hard worker. He's disciplined. He has vision. He has a plan. He is working towards something. Okay, that's a guy you can work with because you're loving his character, the man that he is. And there's more reason to believe and have confidence he's going to get to a better place. But many women are not even seeing that character. They're just believing that this guy can be better. Man, if he just applied himself this way, if he just did this, if he just changed that, he'll be amazing. And it never happens. All right? And so when you are pursuing a man, again, you are more likely to make excuses for this guy. And most cases, not saying there's never been a success story, but the vast majority of cases end in failure and in resentment and in a lot of wasted time. And there's a huge downfall or additional downfall to pouring in that kind of energy and effort into a guy, even when he's not living up to it. What that pursuit, making those excuses, pouring all that effort and energy does into a man is now create, which is number 4, unhealthy attachments. All right? And so a lot of women struggle to walk away from the man that they have invested too much time and energy into. It could be a toxic man. it could be a miserable relationship, all right? She could know deep inside, you could know deep inside, this dude is not the one. But because of all that you sacrificed, you're like, I want to see a return on my investment. I want this to bear the fruit that I've been hoping and dreaming of this whole time. So now again, you become so attached to this belief in his potential, so attached to the investment, so attached to the hopes and dreams you have that you keep overlooking the reality that's smacking you in the face. And all you do is dig yourself a deeper hole and a deeper hole and a deeper hole. And the deeper the hole gets, the harder it is for you to get out. Then you also create the possibility or the potential of more attachments, such as pregnancies, such as getting financially intertwined with this man, such as getting so integrated into his family that now you struggle with, well, now I got to let go of these new friends and family and these relationships I've made. And so all of it becomes a struggle, not to mention these people also making it hard for you because you may have a great relationship with them and a horrible relationship with their son, brother, father, whatever, right? And they're calling you and they're hoping you work it out and they're trying to give you all the reasons why you should give him a chance. But he doesn't belong in your life. He never belonged in your life. But again, this is what the pursuit of a man can lead to, can easily lead to, and has led to for so many women. So again, you want to make sure that attachments can happen in various ways, but you want to minimize what will create those unhealthy attachments that will create greater struggles for you to do what's truly best for you. And so I say this to say, like, listen, we can sit here and say, well, women shouldn't do this and women shouldn't do that. But listen, if you feel something in your spirit and you pray and you talk to God and God's like, yo, go say hello to this man or go do this or whatever, then do it. Don't let your friends, your family, some other YouTube video or whatever say, nah, you shouldn't. No, what do you mean? Like, none of us trump what God has to say to you, what your spirit is trying to say to you. If you feel the need or feel that your spirit is leading you in that direction, then do that. But then again, also when it comes to not getting caught up in what you want, pray about if this is even the guy for you. The reality is that whether you're considering pursuing, whether he's pursuing you, whatever the case may be, if you want to increase your chances of ending up in the right relationship with the right person, then you got to make sure you include God and consult with God about what's going on here and how you should proceed and if this is the guy you should be entertaining. I believe that that's a step that so many believers, because of course if you're not a believer then this doesn't apply, but so many believers overlook that step because again, we see what we want and we're just going to go after that. You know what I'm saying? Or what we want shows us some love and we just want to hold on to that. But then we lose sight of what's really important and we lose sight of, and it may not even be they're not the person. God may just tell you like, listen, it ain't the time. Sometimes it's right person, wrong time. I won't get too deep into that topic, but God may say, okay, listen, that's for you, but it ain't time yet for you to go there. It's almost like, hey, this career is going to be yours, but it ain't time for you to get that job yet. You know, this home is going to be yours, but it ain't time for you to move in yet. This city is going to be where you live, but it ain't time for you to order the U-Haul yet. Sometimes we have to be patient and understand it's not time, but this is the blessing that will be coming to us later. So be sure to always consult with God before you make any moves in this situation. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here. And I'll see you there. You're a beautiful woman, but are you letting that beauty shine through you? Are you allowing people to feel your true essence? And do you understand what men find beautiful in a woman?